Alright friends, so today we're doing 6-5 day 2 notes, so day 2 of factoring. I'm sorry I'm not there. I will answer all of your factoring questions tomorrow because we'll still be doing factoring kind of for the rest of the week. So do your best today and then tomorrow I'll answer your questions. So we have a warm up here. The first couple questions are just factoring, then the next ones are solved. I'll do a couple with you and then I want you to pause the video and try some on your own. So factoring, I don't have anything to solve for. I just need to factor as much as I can. So for this very first one here, I noticed that 2 and 54 are both even numbers, so I could at least take out a 2 as my GCF. And I'm left with x cubed plus 27y cubed. Now before, 2 wasn't a perfect cube, so I couldn't factor it using my rule of perfect cubes, but 1 and 27 both are. So I'm going to factor this using my sum of perfect cubes. I'm using sum because there's a plus sign here. So I need to find my a and my b value. A is going to just be x because x times x times x is x cubed, and my b is going to be 3y because that's what makes 27y cubed. And now just plugging into the equation. So I've got x plus 3y times x squared. Signs are same, opposite always positive, so I'm here with my signs. And multiply those together, so I've got 3xy plus 9y squared. And there we have it. Now again, this last thing, when using the sum of perfect cubes, where difference is not going to factor. I want you to pause this video and try to factor the next one. I want you to look at it carefully. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, and 1 times 1 times 1 is m, so this is going to be the difference of perfect cubes. So pause the video and try to factor. Alright, so here we have it. I've got my a being 2m, my b being 1, and just plugging that into the formula. So 2 minus 1, 4m squared plus 2m plus 1. Alright, taking a look here. Factoring. I've got 3 terms, so I've got to try to factor it. Now we talked yesterday, if I just have an x and an x here, these are not going to multiply to x to the power of 4, so what we need to do is change them to x squared. X squared times x squared is what's making that x to the power of 4. Now thinking of two numbers that multiply to 48 and add to 19. For me, I get minus 16 and minus 3. Now, again, you can't be done. You have to check if you can go further. If you have terms that are not linear, meaning greater degree than 1, then you have to look further to see if you can continue factoring. Well, I see the difference in both of them, so I need to check the difference of perfect squares. Well, 16 is a perfect square, 3 is not, so the left-hand side I can factor into x plus 4, x minus 4, and here I'm still left with x squared minus 3. And that's as far as I could factor. Alright, now we're going to get to solving. Solving, you still got to factor, you just have a couple of extra steps. Alright, number 1. Well, good thing we just factored that. Exact same thing from above. Now we just have that extra step of solving. So I'm just going to copy this x plus 4, x minus 4, what was it? I already forgot. X squared minus 3 equals 0. So we just factored this thing. Now it's a matter of solving. Solving, taking set of parentheses and setting it equal to 0. So I get x equals negative 4, x equals 4. Here I've got to add the 3 and now take the square root. So x equals plus or minus the square root of 3. Now I was degree 4, so that told me I needed to find 4 solutions, and I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Plus or minus gives me those other 2. Alright, taking a look here. Very similar to the one we just did. You've got to factor and solve. So I want you to pause this video, try to factor, solve, and check your work. Alright, so Factors, x squared minus 4, x squared minus 2. These two multiply to positive 8, adds to negative 6, so we're good to go. 4 is a perfect square, so I can factor that further. 2 is not, so I can't. So then I get x equals 2, x equals negative 2, x equals plus or minus the square root of 2. So there are my 4 solutions. All right, we've got a couple of more left. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at number 4. All right, number 4. I know that x cubed and 64 are perfect cubes, so I'm going to factor using my perfect cube rule. So I've got a being x and b being 4, because 4 times 4 times 4 is what gives us 64. Now I'm plugging those into my equation. So the first sign's the same, the next sign's the opposite, and the last sign is always positive. So here we have it. Now this doesn't factor. I can't think of two numbers that multiply to 16 and add to 4. I've got 1 and 16, and I've got 4 and 4. None of those add to 4. So to solve, I know I'm setting this equal to 0, so I have x equals 4. But for this, I've got to use that quadratic formula. So x equals opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times 1 times 16 all over 2 times a, but in this case, a is 1. Now it's a matter of simplifying, so I've got negative 4 plus or minus. Let's do this math here. So I've got 16 minus 4 times 64. 4 times 16. I'm not sure why I said 64. So I'm at negative 48. I see a negative, so that means my solutions are going to be imaginary. This is 16 times 3, 4, and 4. So there's what I'm taking out. That leaves us with negative 4 plus or minus 4I root 3 all over 2. But both 4 and 4 are divisible by 2, so I've got negative 2 plus or minus 2I root 3. So again, I should have found 4 solutions, and here are those 4 solutions. Here are 2 of them. And here's the other one. All right, we've got 2 more left. We'll do one together. You'll do one on your own, and then you can work on your homework. Here, I've got 4 terms. My method of factoring, when you've got an even number of terms, your first step is to try grouping. Here I could take out an x squared, and I'm left with x plus 2. Here I could take out a negative 4, and I'm left with x plus 2. So sure enough, grouping worked. That leaves me with x squared minus 4, and x plus 2 equals 0. Continue factoring. I see the difference of perfect squares, so I've got x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 2 equals 0. So it was degree 3, which means I need to find 3 solutions. Well, I've got from this one, x equals negative 2, x equals 2, and x equals negative 2. So I do have 3 solutions. This negative 2 is happening 3 times. We'll talk more about what that means, but those 3 solutions are negative 2, 2, and... Alright, so here we are. We've got a lot happening here on number 6. Factoring by grouping, it sure does work, but it factors into something cubed, which means that I've got to use the sum of perfect cubes. So I've got my a being x, my b being 2. I've got x minus 1 here, so that already tells me I have a solution of 1. I've got x plus 2, x squared minus 2x plus 4. Here I get a solution of negative 2, but in the middle I've got to use the quadratic formula. So opposite of b plus or minus b squared minus 4 times a times c. So I get 2 plus or minus negative root 12 all over 2. simplify, and we get 1 plus or minus I root 3. So there's your 4 solutions there. All right, so with that being said, I want you to tonight work on your day 2 homework. There are quite a few questions. Remember, in order to solve, you've got to get everything set equal to 0. The first page is a whole lot of factoring, so practicing factoring. I'm telling you again and again and again and again, you're going to struggle with factoring unless you give it a try. So make sure you're putting in your best effort and don't just give up, because that's not how you're going to learn, my friends. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Come prepared with questions, because that's how we're going to start off class. All right, bye.